Thank you all for joining me today. I'm going to try to keep things a little bit more quick today than typical because I have an appointment for Nate that was not normally scheduled for me to take care of. So I'm adjusting my schedule. But hello, and I thought I would skip the happy mail and the intros in order to get just right down to it. But I will share, if I can find it. I want to share this card that was on my blog this week, and so many of you guys liked it, so I thought I'd share it and give a close-up look. So you can see the die cut, how I colored it. Hi Anne-Marie, Philomena, hi everybody. So this is the card that is currently on my blog to check out, and it was really not so hard to create, and I've given you some step-by-step instructions as well. So we're going to get right down into this technique. This one is by, oh thank you Fran. This one is by request, and I've had somebody ask me, they had seen some cards out there on maybe Pinterest or something, they didn't say, but they wanted me to try to duplicate something that has a look of glow to it. And I think the look of glow I'm interpreting is where it's much lighter in the middle and then it kind of fades out into a much darker color. So I've got a couple of different projects that are already prepared, and we're going to do the technique part and then look at the projects. But it's a fun technique, and I don't know what else to call it other than glow technique, so that's kind of how we're going to do it. Fran is asking, how did I do the white tips on the leaves? Good morning, Karen. There is step-by-step instructions on my blog. If you want to go over there, it's jennyhaldesign.com, and it tells you exactly how to create the card from beginning to end. So with the glow technique, what I'm going to start off with is a color cardstock, and I want it to be light, as this will be the lightest color on the finished piece of cardstock. Out on the panel, it will be this color at its most center. And to start getting a little bit of color to radiate out and darken as it reaches the edges, then I'm going to use the same color, which is Highland Heather, and this is Highland Heather cardstock. And what that's going to do is when you use tone on tone, it's just going to intensify the colors that you're going to add. So I've got my sponge brayer, and if you didn't know, then these are interchangeable. Let me see if I can get it off. And you can just put a new one on. And this is a sponge head that comes off and can be washed really easy. And this is a silicone mat. And this helps me to be able to keep the ink contained down to a certain area. So I start with the sponge brayer. And if you're new to brayering, then it's like a circle motion. Go down, pick it up, and start back over here again. Go down. And what that is doing is lending a continuous coat of ink on the circle of the brayer. So once it goes down, then you're picking up where you left off, and it goes down, pick up where you left off. And so we've got ink on here, but it's even. And when we apply the brayer to the paper, we're going to apply it in much the same way. So we'll start off of the paper and brayer on, pick it up, and then what it does is it continues to use that whole circle process. So I'm going to use those circle motions. So I'm rolling, picking up, rolling, picking up, and I'm using all of the ink on the brayer. And if you're new to brayering, then this is a technique that is really very inexpensive. You use your stamp pads, and then you can add this tool, which is extremely affordable. There are many different kinds of brayers. I like the sponge brayer because it's very, very easy for me to go and clean off. So what I'm doing is I'm working like radiating from an oval, because this is a rectangle shape. I want to leave an oval with no color on it right in the middle. Thank you guys for sharing the video. I appreciate that. So as I go and add more color, I want the outside to really hold most of the color, and the inside, I do not want it to hold hardly any color right there in the middle. So I'm coming from the outside, working my way in. And as you add dampness to a piece of cardstock, oftentimes it will get darker and kind of settle down. Dye ink will kind of settle in the more that you let it dry. So I hope you can start to see that glow look emerge, because it's there. It's going to start coming up a little more. And now we're going to change ink colors. And this was Highland Heather. We're going to switch over to Gorgeous Grape. This is just like one shade darker. So I'm going to, because it's a lighter ink onto a darker stamp pad, I feel very comfortable knowing that it's not going to contaminate things. And I'll start again from the edge, but I'm not going to let the brayer come in as far this time. So I want to cover up partially some of the Highland Heather that I've put on, but not all of it, because then it's not going to give me a graduated color. So I'm going to come like to here and stop. So as I bring my brayer a little closer, then I'm lifting it up when it gets to the point that I know I need to stop. And so I will continue to do this here in this manner, with giving a little more concentration to those corners. Hi, Leonie. Hi, Renee. Hello, Pam. Sorry, I'm remiss in my greetings. I'm concentrating on this technique for you guys, and we're calling this the glow technique because I don't have another name for it. But I've been asked to demonstrate how to make the paper glow. So we've started with Highland Heather cardstock. We've added Highland Heather ink up to a certain point, leaving the middle empty. And then now we're adding Gorgeous Grape around the edges. And Gorgeous Grape is only going in just so far. So now you can see that there is definitely a glow starting to appear. And on purple, it doesn't appear as much as it might not look as glowy, but just wait, we're getting there. This is Smoky Slate. And the Smoky Slate ink is going to help intensify everything. I'm going to kind of get some of the purple off of my brayer. You can see it's got some purple, but not too much. The brayer only holds so much at a time. Hi, Ashley. Oh, I'm so glad that you guys are enjoying this so far. Okay, so now I'm going to flip this thing over because it's got a whole lot of purple on this side, and I don't want to add more purple. I want to add the gray. This is Smoky Slate, and I can also always move up a level to basic gray, but we're going to start with Smoky Slate. And I'm going to do just like I did before, except for now I can bring that gray just a little bit in, because it's not purple. It's not going to over intensify the purple. But look what's happening. You can see that it just kind of darkens up that gorgeous grape around the edge. And it totally looks different. So we'll do the top half and then compare it down to the bottom half so that you can really see what the results are. And this one can come up a little further because these are just going to really intensify the shadows so that we can have that real glow look. That's where I found that this is going to really make a difference, is with adding it just with these tones that are going to intensify. So we've taken a piece of Highland Heather cardstock and check it out, guys. What do you think? Can you see that glow? Versus this side, this just looks like some purple. And now we have some actual, looks like it's starting to glow. And then once you've gotten this type of technique down, then there's so much that you can do with it. And I did prepare last night. I made up 3 different projects from start to finish so that we can look at some other color combinations. But I thought it would be fun to start off with the purple. Purple is a very favorite color of a lot of people that I know. And the gray goes in and overlaps just a little bit, and it's making that glow look. Just inside where that, but I've got a lot of that cardstock that's going to remain uncolored, completely uncolored. Now I want to make sure that I get the outside edges with enough ink, so I'm going to just touch the edge of the paper here. Pardon me. Yes, Debbie, I hope that you try this out because it's so easy. And this is something that we've already got. Most of us have a brayer sitting around someplace. And with all of the new products that are coming out, that's what we're going to be using to turn our little project piece here into a finished project. We're going to be using some new product. But this is so simple. It's just a matter of knowing when to stop overlapping the colors. That is my #1 piece of advice, is don't overlap the colors too much. Be a little bit more on the conservative side. So this was the color combination that we used. We started with Highland Heather, intensified the outside edges with Gorgeous Grape, and then brought Smoky Slate in for the shadows. And see how just this light of a gray has intensified and made a whole new purple color. Isn't that cool? And it is fun. It definitely is fun. All right, so I'm going to take this whole thing here and move it safely away so that I know we don't contaminate any of our other colors, because I have the finished project to share with you. So I'm going to add some stamping from Butterfly Gala, and I'm going to use the rectangle stitched framelits, and this is the one I'm using. It's the little one here on the corner. And I did share with you guys that I'm really excited to have these. This was one of my most sought after items, and I'm really excited to be using rectangles that are stitched. Any rectangle dies, period, are really high up on my list. Oh, hi, Debbie. How are you? So in order to complete the card, then I'm going to use this little piece here. I'm not going to stamp it because I have too many to show you. I really went crazy with this technique last night. And then I'm stamping, well, I'll show you the card. So what do you think? This is the finished card based on the exact same technique. There is one difference, and this is the same exact thing that we just did. I didn't stop as far back. I went in a little too far with the gray. I still see the glow happening, but not as much as this other panel. And we'll look at the panel again here. So you can see that by practicing, I got this a little too colored, but by practicing, I was able to say, okay, I know I need to stop at a certain point. So what I've done to complete this card is I've taken the panel and given it some time to dry because this ink is pretty thick around the outside. And I've glued it directly down to the Whisper White. And then I've taken a few of the butterflies that are from the new Celebration paper called Botanical Butterfly. And this will be free if you choose it as one of your Celebration items. And the page that has the orange with the diagonal stripe on the back is the one that fits perfectly into this butterfly punch. So you can see here that there was a butterfly here, and then I've punched it out, and it creates just a little bit of a halo around it. So be sure that whenever you are planning your projects that you count for this orange halo to come out. Now I've also used some thinlits that are from the Butterfly Beauty, and I just used this little tiny thing with the 2 butterflies on it and ran it through for a couple of white butterflies, and then so easy, just so easy to create. Hi Kathy, how are you doing? Hi Margareta, how are you? I hope I'm catching everybody to say hello. Excuse me. So by adding a very easy sentiment and taking it off center so that it doesn't cover up all this glow area, and then we've got just a couple of butterflies with a few smaller pieces, that's going to create the depth and kind of draw the eye into the glow area. And then I took a piece of the same package of paper, and that would be this one, the Botanical Butterfly. And remember, you can't purchase this paper. You can only earn it for free as a Celebration item. And I've taken it and added a little strip of Glimmer paper, mounted it on a Whisper White cardstock, and there you go. This is one really easy way to make a card that you're putting a technique in, and this would be the technique, and we're calling it the glow technique because I don't really know what else to call it. But see how thick it goes into the cardstock? It really soaks up the ink. And this was a fun card to create. I like how it has the colors tied together, and it's a happy card for me. I really like it. Oh, I'm glad you guys like it too. All right, so we're gonna move on to the next one because you guys are really, really gonna be wowed by how this came out on other colors. So what colors would you guys think that you would like to do this technique on? That's where I was last night in my mind, in my studio actually, thinking, wow, exactly what colors can I do this technique with? Because there's so much going on. I can pick any color combination. All right, so since we're working with butterflies, I chose to go with that one stamp set, the Butterfly Gala. I chose to go with it for all the colors. So we've got our purple color combination going on here, and I'll put this over here by the purple. How about green? So the next color choice that I worked with was Lemon Lime Twist, Old Olive, and Shaded Spruce. And I wasn't sure exactly how well Shaded Spruce was going to work versus the gray, because Shaded Spruce is not only, is it not gray, but it's a really intense color. But I was really happy to start off with the Lemon Lime Twist cardstock, and then I added the Old Olive, just like I did around the edges with the Highland Heather and the Gorgeous Grape. And then the part that is shaded spruce, I really dialed it back and just stayed around the edges. And here's the result. What do you think? I really like how the greens came out. I can see that it just literally is glowing. And once I did this, and this is a 1-layer card, I just went ahead and made it into a card base like this. It just kind of came together to keep it very, very simple. That's the one thing that I'm finding is with this, you could call it kind of like a spotlight, but I know there's already a technique called a spotlight technique. That's why I was calling it the glow technique. But it really, really shows up whenever there's less going on. So I created this with the same designer series paper, the Botanical Butterfly, but I fussy cut this because it's not the same shape. It doesn't fit the punch. As you can see here, this is a bit of a different shape. So I quickly fussy cut this out, and then I embossed in white on a piece of black cardstock and added just a very simple little sentiment. And then I used the copper thread to echo the whole spiral, circular theme. And that's it. The only other thing I did here is I took the basic black Stampin' Up marker and I flicked it, like, with the cap, I flicked it down here into the center so that it would kind of give just a little bit more atmosphere and not be empty green in the middle. So no, it's no longer empty green in the middle. Oh, I'm glad you guys like this. I like the green too. I'm really happy with how the greens worked out. I played around with a couple of different greens, and this was my favorite combination by far. And you can see by looking at them how they kind of carry the same type of tones in common. If you guys hear a loud sound, there's a leaf truck going by my street, and they're vacuuming up all of the leaves from the curb. All right, so this is what we're calling the glow technique. And then I have one more color combination to share. And I wasn't sure what colors. I thought about yellow. I do want to try this with red, but I thought maybe I'll start off with pink. And the pink combination that I chose was Powder Pink, Flirty Flamingo, and Sahara Sand. And I chose to go with Sahara Sand instead of the grays because these pinks are so very warm. I thought that it would be very light colored ink, and it would just kind of add a little bit more intensity. And so this is the last color combination that I chose to work with. And here's the card. Now, I did cut the panel down. I made sure that when I inked this, that I left lots of area in the middle. But in all honesty, this is the one that I had trouble with turning it into a design. I wasn't sure how to feature it because I really like the pinks. I like the glow. I like all of this fading out into darker. But I wasn't able to successfully turn it into a design because there was so much color. And so I got out one of these pieces of the delightfully detailed laser paper and trimmed down my technique. Like it did look like this, but with different colors. And I stamped in early espresso, or maybe it's either early espresso or it's soft suede. I think it might be soft suede. And then I just kind of popped it up, and this is the result with the pinks. So how do you guys like this technique? I think it's pretty cool. I'm really digging how it came out. Hi there, Betty. Yeah, there's so much we can do with this. I think the reds would look really pretty. I almost turned this into a Christmas card where I was gonna put some of the little Christmas bulbs, well, they're pretty big Christmas bulbs, across it, but I'm really transitioning. I feel like I want to work with more of the newer products and transitioning myself away from Christmas products and holiday products. Although we can use them for lots of other things, I've just really wanted to get these butterflies inked up, as I'm sure a lot of you guys do too. Oh, you're welcome, Anne. No problem. So this is an easy technique, and you guys could see exactly how fast it went together. So imagine doing this with lots of different color cardstock, with lots of different color combinations. I think that the ideas are endless, and it just lends out something that's really pretty and unique. We didn't do a lot of things that maybe people aren't so comfortable with. We've just used our sponge brayer and these color combinations, and see how it just kind of works itself out. It works itself out so easily. But these are all done with the same stamp set. And all of this is with Butterfly Gala. We'll take another look at the stamp set. This is new in the Occasions catalog. And the way that these images are set up is they are stamped, they kind of stamp out as a pair. And I'll show you what that looks like. So these two butterflies, the large and the small, are attached to one another. And that's the same way that they will be punched. They'll be punched out just like this. Once they stamp on the paper like this, then you can insert the paper into the punch, and it's going to punch out two separate butterflies. But it's also fun to just add this to a handmade card. It's a really fresh look. I'm really enjoying the fresh look, and the color combinations that we can do with butterflies are just endless. They are endless. So this is my project for today. I hope that you have enjoyed this extremely easy and very simple to create look, and we're going to call this the glow technique for lack of another term. But you can start off with any color cardstock, and I really think this will look great in blues. I found an example of this technique with light blue, and it graduated out to almost black. It was absolutely stunning. But that's already been done, so I didn't want to duplicate that color combination because there's already some projects floating around with that color combo. So this is something different that we can say is something that we have created, and the Butterfly Gala just works out so perfectly. And I'm in love with these fonts. You guys see how they mix together the nice big bold fonts with the really pretty handwriting fonts. Absolutely gorgeous. And this comes in a bundle with the butterfly punch, and it will be 10% off. If you're a demonstrator right now, you can purchase this in your pre-order. And if you're not a demonstrator yet and you don't work with a demonstrator, then if you get your starter kit, you can add this particular stamp set or this particular bundle to your starter kit, and you can get it now. You don't have to wait, which is the best part. But that's not the best part about being a demonstrator. The best part of being a demonstrator is being part of the Stampin' Up! Family. So here is one more little bitty option that I created. I didn't adorn this card very much, but I did punch out some butterflies just to see if adding a little bling would add anything to the card. So I've punched in vellum and in gold glimmer paper, and this can kind of just set on the edge. And then here are some metallic pearls, some gold metallic pearls. And this is what the larger of the two looks like. It just didn't really, I couldn't fit this into the design. And then this is a vellum butterfly. So I created these butterflies by just taking a piece of vellum and punching it, and a piece of gold glimmer paper, punching it, adhering those two together. Excuse me. And then gluing them together in the center. Karen has a question. She's asking, do you think if you don't have a brayer, you could use a sponge? Absolutely, Karen. It's just up to you as to how far you go in and what kind of intensity that you use. Now, I will tell you that the sponge brayers are very, very, very affordable, and you get more than one sponge head in the package. And so it would be something that maybe if you want to wait until you have the brayer, I'm able to achieve a much better blend with a brayer than a sponge. But if you are really familiar with the sponges and you work very well with them, I would suggest to try this out. And you pick your ink colors, and what's the harm? You got endless color possibilities to be able to get the look that you want. But yes, I think you can do this with a sponge. I prefer to do it with a brayer though, because that's just what I'm comfortable with. I'm able to stop at a certain point, and I'm able to control the pressure. With a sponge, it's a little more challenging for me with the pressure. Well, if you guys have any questions about these projects, then just leave me a comment and I'll be happy to answer. And I'm going to feature probably this card first, but I'll make sure that I take lots of photographs and put them on my blog in consecutive days so that you guys can go over to my blog and get a better look and get more insight on how I created all of these other projects. And then there will be measurements and a supply list as well. Thank you all for spending time with me today. I'm sorry that it was a bit more short than normal, but my mommy schedule has caused me to need to mix around a couple of things so that I can go and take one of my sons to an appointment. Well, have a wonderful time out there crafting, guys. And if there's anything that I can do for you, or you have any ideas on what you'd like for me to demonstrate in my subsequent live videos, then I'm always happy to hear your ideas. And if it's something that I can do, like this technique today was requested, then I'm happy to accommodate you. So have a wonderful rest of the week, and I will see you soon. Bye-bye.
Thanks for watching the video. See you next time.